Good afternoon, everyone. This is Gretchen Godfrey from the National PTAC at Pacer Center. I want to welcome you all to today's webinar, an introduction to strategic technology planning. Also, I have with me today Barb Buswell and her team from Region 5. Would you like to greet everyone, Barb?
Hi, everybody. Glad you're on.
Before we get started today, I'm just going to remind everyone that, like usual, the participants are all muted during the call, so you can use the question and answer box on the GoToWebinar toolbar if you have any questions that you would like to type in. And we are recording this webinar, and we'll post it onto the ParentCenterNetwork.org portal once we have that processed and ready to go so that you can share it with other people who were not able to join us today. So here's an agenda just to let you know what we're going to be talking about today. Just going to go over, as a reminder to everyone, the Parent Center supplements that are happening over the year, and then go into specifically regarding the technology planning supplement, go into some background on the technology leadership initiative that happened in 2010 and 2011 to kind of form the basis for what we'll be doing during this year. We'll share some resources that are currently available and then move on and tell you about some of our exciting plans for this year. Because there are a lot of different supplements and technology activities that will be happening during the year, we wanted to provide this brief webinar to kind of give you some context and see how everything fits together. So we're glad you could join us. So first, just as a reminder of the 4 different supplements that are happening during this year, and these are all activities that were designed to help all parent centers across the network. The first is the technology planning that we'll be talking about today, and both the National and Region 5 PTACs receive supplements to do work in that area. There is also the website template, which you received an email about a week or 2 ago that will be a collaborative activity between the national and regional PTACs, and you'll receive more information down the line as we move forward with that activity. There's also a supplement around collaboration between the parent centers and protection and advocacy organizations that the national and Region 4 PTACs are working on. So there'll be some more activities going on around that as well. And then also Region 1 is working on an update to the Spanish glossary that was first disseminated a year or 2 ago. So that just to remind everyone of the bigger context of the different supplements that are happening during this year, we thought we'd give you that list. So now moving into the focus of today's webinar, which is on strategic technology planning. For centers that might not have been around a couple of years ago when the Technology Leadership Initiative Project, also known as TLI, took place, we just wanted to give everyone a brief summary of what happened with that project and how we are building on it. So the TLI project, the goal of that was to develop a model for strategic technology planning that supports parent centers' mission. And again, those bolded words are really important, that the purpose was to make sure that the parent centers were really looking at technology in a comprehensive way and how it could improve outreach to parents and better serve families and professionals in a more coordinated and strategic way rather than just maybe using technology in a less coordinated process. There were 8 parent centers around the country that took part in this, 6 PTIs and 2 CPRCs, and they helped test the model of planning throughout the year, and the work was done in a variety of ways through in-person trainings and webinars and online collaboration tools, and a lot of what we learned through that will be used during these new technology supplements. So just to give some background, again, on really using that technology more strategically, we use this pyramid model that has been established by other experts, and there's a link there if you want to learn more about this, and we'll send out this PowerPoint to everyone. But when looking at nonprofits and using technology, our goal was to help parent centers move up this pyramid in terms of their use of technology. So starting at the bottom, there's using technology for more day-to-day tasks and establishing the basic infrastructure. So that's looking at things like making sure computer networks and email systems and a basic website are all secure, because without kind of that stable framework and infrastructure, it's hard to use technology in more advanced ways. So that's kind of the basis. And the middle level is using technology to implement programs. That could be things like having a Facebook page or other social media, using a database, different technology tools that can be used to help serve families. And then at the top of the pyramid, the transformative level is really looking at technology in that strategic way to better meet the mission and conduct business more effectively. And that's kind of our goal that was our goal at the TLI, and continuing that goal through these technology supplements is to, no matter where parent centers are starting, to get them to get all of you to help move up this pyramid in terms of use of technology. Next, I'm going to go over a little bit about the process that was used during the TLI, and then after this slide, the next one will go into a little more details on the plans that were developed as part of that. Starting with the self-assessment, all the pilot centers looked at what kinds of technology tools do they currently have available, both in terms of hardware and software and staff skills, to really get a current technology state for their center and determine where they were on that pyramid and what their goals would be. And again, the first two, the inventories, are really a way to assess that basic infrastructure and see if there's any work that needs to be done there before moving on to some of the more advanced activities. The next phase in the process was determining the technology priorities and what were the goals that the pilot parent centers most wanted to work on during the year. And there was a wide range of them, and I'll show some of those in a later slide. Then the pilot centers developed a plan to meet those program and technology priorities, and then work to start to implement and evaluate that plan. So this just provides an example of what the strategic technology plans looked like. This was during the year. We worked with a consultant who helped figure out this model and develop this framework. So not everyone's plan needed to look exactly the same, but this was a starting point for all of us. An introduction to the parent center, how big they were, what their current state of technology was. Another really important thing we learned was working with a team, so that it wasn't just a technology person developing a technology plan, but the executive director and program staff, technology person, and others working together. Then there were the technology initiatives, those specific goals for programs and technology, and developing a logic model for each of those to see how working on those initiatives would really help the parent center to meet their mission. Some basic updates to technology planning. So initiatives, in addition to the initiatives, was there a way that technology needed to be enhanced to better do communication or to better do evaluation? And then a very specific implementation plan that with timelines and people responsible, and then a budget. So all of those are part of the technology plan that the pilot parent centers developed. The next slide just contains some examples of the different technology initiatives that the pilot parent centers looked at as part of developing their plans. And again, a really critical piece of this was the logic model that was developed for each of them. So, for example, the first one about posting archived trainings and self-guided tutorials on the website. Every parent center then took it to the next step. So not only the outputs, how many trainings did they want to do, but what was the proposed goal of that? Was it to reach families who couldn't attend in-person trainings? Was it to reach more diverse families? Was the goal to reach new audience that they weren't able to get with in-person workshops? So to really look at not only what technology projects did the Parent Centers want to initiate, but what was the ultimate goal of doing those projects. So some things that different pilot Parent Centers worked on were things like the web-based trainings, improving their infrastructure, enhancing online fundraising, improving outreach to underserved families. So there was a wide range of projects that people developed plans for. Next, I'm going to ask Barb. Barb, if you have anything to add on the slides that I already talked about, and she's also going to share some of the evaluation and impact and results of the TLI project.
Great, thanks, Gretchen. One of the things that we did as part of this project was pretty intensive and broad-based evaluation. And we evaluated kind of any dimension that you could imagine. We did pre and post tests, did quantitative evaluations. We did evaluations after in-person meetings. We had focus groups, and so we spent a lot of time really looking at that. Our results were really interesting and positive, and I think that's why we're excited to continue building on the expertise that exists in the Parent Centers. The pilots that we selected brought very different levels of expertise at the beginning of the project, but every one of the centers demonstrated pretty significant growth in their ability to do strategic planning. And they increased their knowledge of kind of specific parts of technology, which is what I think many of us brought to this process. And we're able to integrate it in ways that meet, as Gretchen mentioned earlier, ways that help meet their programmatic dimensions, as well as enhancing their outreach to families. And some of the areas I thought you might be interested in that we did pre and post tests on that we saw pretty significant progress were the following. One was the effectiveness of Parent Centers' infrastructure, specifically with technology, in supporting achievement of their mission. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the project, those centers, the pilots felt like they grew significantly. When we began, we also assessed the pilot's understanding of their center's long-term tech needs, resources, and costs that it would take to meet those needs. And there was significant growth in this area. There also was growth in the Parent Center's ability to use their new skills and awareness of technology processes and areas to feel that they could do much sounder technology planning, both in the area of program delivery and in their ability to disseminate information to families. So overall, we all used, if it was a different kind of a TA activity, that we all, those of us who were leading the project as well as the participants, actually used the tools together. So it was an intensive way in which we all were peers, as well as those of us who were leading it, demonstrating and moving people towards the process. So I think that when we did the final evaluation, that this project was deemed to be sound, high quality, relevant, and useful, those same areas that we all addressed. So Gretchen?
All right, thanks, Barb. And like Barb said, it's because of those high evaluations and the great growth that the pilot centers demonstrated that, you know, we're excited about bringing this to the rest of the Parent Center network through the various technology supplements. So the next thing I want to share is a few resources so people can continue to learn about this and get some more background knowledge about the strategic technology planning process. So I'm going to bring up the web page here, hopefully, on the Parent Center Network portal, where you can find some of the resources that were developed during that project. And we'll send this URL to everyone to be sure that you can all find it following the webinar. But we have a page set up called the Technology Leadership Initiative, and I'm just going to run through a few different pages. We have an overview that just summarizes the project. Some of the strategic planning tools that I talked about, we have those linked. So there's a technology plan outline, which provides some more details in terms of those different sections that I mentioned that are included. There's a tip sheet for completing it. Also, you might remember I mentioned some of the first steps are doing some of those inventories to determine the initial and kind of the baseline level and just be sure the infrastructure is ready. So there's a spreadsheet for tracking your parent center's hardware, so your laptops, printers, and all of those things, as well as software, and also a staff skills survey. So if that's something that you're interested in starting with, we've posted some of those tools. Like we mentioned, there were a lot of trainings that were part of this project, and so we've posted some of the PowerPoint slides as well as a few of the archived webinars. As we went throughout the process, we did some specific trainings on topics such as budgeting for technology, where we went into some real detail of how to develop a technology budget, and some other parts of doing the planning process. So those are available to you. We also have posted some just more general technology resources, so links for technology planning or different technology topics, whether it's social media or mobile technology, or some of those real planning resources that we have available for you to look through in this one site. And there's also just some fun videos that the pilots did throughout the year at different trainings that you might want to take a look at. So we encourage you to look at that page and kind of expand your background knowledge before we move into some of the activities during the year. All right, let me get back to my PowerPoint here. So next, you just want to share a few of the things that you might expect during this year as part of the supplement. Some of the things that the National PTAC will be doing, it will be expanding that website that I just showed you to continue to put more technology planning and other technology resources there, so that it can be a real focus just on technology, where it will be kind of a one-stop shop for looking for those types of resources. So we'll continue to build upon what was posted there already. We'll be creating an online community of practice for technology planning, or a wiki that people will be able to interact with each other and post questions and respond to each other. We don't have that set up yet, but we'll certainly let everyone know once that's available, so that people can be communicating with each other and sharing ideas for tech planning. And then we'll also be conducting more webinars on various technology planning topics throughout the year. Barb, do you want to share some of the activities that you'll be conducting as part of your supplement?
Well, I think the design of the supplement was that since tech planning is a different kind of TA, it's a paradigm shift, and it's a pretty intensive process. And since the RPTACs are the primary TA providers, this is what we're going to do in Region 5 is work with the other RPTACs to build capacity so that everyone has the same resources and has experienced the same TLI process that was tested, so that each region can make this be a part of their regional services to enhance, extend, do whatever. So we will be working with the RPTACs this year. And then I think that at least in some regions, the RPTACs will be working, it's likely that they might work with another center or two, so that as we grow, so it will develop our capacity and we can build on the expertise and resources from the pilots, from the resources that Gretchen just showed in the portal, and continue to expand our capacity. We will probably be doing, I think we'll be doing a couple of webinars as part of this regional training, and also because we have a relationship with the nonprofit technology network, and they offer two webinars a year for parent centers. So when we know about those, we will advertise them, as will the RPTAC.
All right, thank you, Barb. I'm not seeing any questions, but I just want to remind everyone that if you have any, feel free to type them in, and we'll get to those now. But that is actually all the information that we have for you today. We just wanted to get that basic update out to everyone, so you knew what was going on during the year and could start looking at those tools that are currently available, and you'll be getting a lot more support in the future, and we'll be sending out those other new resources that will be added so people can start asking questions of each other and sharing their expertise, as well as certainly the pilots who have already gone through the process and can share what they've learned. So I think it looks like there are no questions. Barb, do you have anything else you would like to add as we close out here?
No, I'm glad we had a chance to all be together today, and as people have ideas, please pass them along, because synergistically we're going to be much more knowledgeable and successful as parent centers when we share info.
All right, thank you, Barb. And we'll follow up this webinar by sending out the link once it's posted, as well as sharing the PowerPoint and getting information on how. Be sure you know how to contact us for any questions or ideas as we move forward. So thanks everyone for your time today, and have a wonderful afternoon.